Okay, we can get started. Okay, so it seems that this is my third time attending this conference and second time speaking, and this year seems to be a lot of psychology topic. My topic is also kind of related, so that's make it interesting, and I think that's another kind of good sign. Last year, I was speaking saying that to do the improvement, we need to focus two sides, the system side and the people side. It seems that our society is getting a lot of progress on improving the system. So now we are more focusing on people. We have to play both. So my topic is really to how to use Kanban to beat uncertainty and scarcity. I will discuss a little bit more about scarcity because that's something personally I think changed my life. So I really happy to have this opportunity to share my viewpoint here. And the other thing here I'm trying to talk is really to find a way to teach Kanban or Lean Kanban to the higher level managers. So that's what we are doing in China. As David said, we try to roll out Kanban to Huawei, to Ping An, to CMB, China Merchant Bank, something like 1,000 developers. And also we are trying to push Kanban or introduce Kanban to not only developers, but also the business managers, business people. So we need to find some way of communication using the terminology, speak their language. So that's what all this presentation about, is try to speak in a language of the business managers or CEOs, CXOs, and try to let them understand what is limit WIP is, and try to change the communication in more the business manner. So that's what all this communication presentation about. So the first thing we like to share is that we talk now, at least in China, we talk a lot about uncertainty now. Business people now, they are trying to think how I'm going to succeed in the uncertainty world. So this is a little bit background that basically this physics teach probably in the middle school, saying that actually we actually are living in the uncertainty world, not a certain world. This is really the quantum physics stuff. So basically, when we narrow the device and then the particle, the light, goes through, but when we become more precise on the position, and then it will divide, it will split the light, it will be less certain for the direction of the light. So that's way you cannot really achieve, a very precise position and a very precise direction at the same time. So that's the fundamental for the uncertainty. So this is just give a little bit hint about, okay, we have to deal with uncertainty because that was the world, that was business, that was all the innovation about. You cannot just try to manage in a certain way. Okay, and I noticed we have this VOCA. I'm not sure whether you heard about that, but that's become more and more popular saying for the CEOs, saying that we live in this volatile, uncertainty, ambiguity, and complexity world. So that was the world, that was the organization, that was the innovation about. So you have to deal with it. And then what we are doing is that try to link all this concept with Lean and Kanban so that let high-level managers understand more why this is working without talking about a lot of detailed technical stuff. So we have many real-time, real-life examples for uncertainties, and we've seen uncertainty every day. When we build many features, we build many products, but nobody really used that, right? So when you build it, you think, oh, this is cool. This must be, people will love it. and then you put that on the shelf, nobody love it. So that's uncertainty, right? And the other thing is that, a lot of time, the product manager will say, this is the product, this is the feature I will build, exactly the same. I write 100-page document. I won't change that. But every time when you build that feature, you find more questions and people begin to change the requirement. So that's another uncertainty. And also, David talked about estimation, right? Basically, people want to, keep myself uncertain in a way because everything changes, but we want other people to be certain, right? So you have to be certain, but I have to be uncertain. So that's where a lot of conflict really happening. So for estimation, all the product managers say, my requirement has to change, but you have to tell me exactly when you're going to launch that product, or how many days you will finish that, although my requirement keep changing. Well, that's a conflict, right? And also, all the managers or the leaders want the defect to be removed completely. I want to 100% sure this will be launched. No problem, no defects. So a lot of this kind of certainty thinking in our management. But remember, we are living in an uncertain world. So this is a potential conflict. And we have seen that a lot of the management thinking still very entrenched in our management daily philosophies, management daily practices. So that's a conflict. And also we find that sometimes, the CEOs begin to talk the uncertainty language. However, all the middle-level managers and all the policies, all the processes is using the certainty way of management. Although the top understand, oh, I understand that, but the HR will say, you need to give me the KPIs. That's how I work. I don't know how to work without KPI. And although the CEO knows this is something wrong, but he don't have another way, right? He has to say, you know what? I have no other choice, so do whatever you want. So this is really trying to give the managers some thought about, oh, maybe we can work on differently. So let's see what's some example of the traditional, I call them certainty management or manage where certainty do. One of my customers in China is a big insurance company, and they do a lot of innovations. But a lot of innovation is really the innovation trying by defining their growth plans, right? So basically, the logic is all the same. Is that we are very successful. We have a lot of resources. So anything we do must be very successful, right? So anyone have a problem with that? The CEO asking that, and then nobody will say no, right? So yeah, we will be very successful. And then the next question would be, okay, after 1 year, how many subscribers or how many customers you think we can got? You have to come with a big number, right? We are big, we are huge, we are successful. So then, we have to come with, oh, let's about 20 million or 22 billion US dollars, something like that. And then the CEO will say, okay, that's great. I love to hear that. Okay, now let's break them into quarter, like the quarterly KPIs, right? So it's 20 million by the end of this year, and then let's say how much we have for next quarter. We cannot say 2,000, right? You got 20 million there, right? And so then this will, although we are explore, although we are innovate, but then we make them into a very rigid plans. And then people lost innovation because they have to busy focusing on finish the first quarter. And then they may able to achieve second quarter, they will fail in the third. And then after 1 year, CEOs think, well, my idea is great, but you guys are lousy because you are lousy at execution. So I will fire this guy and bring another group. Let's innovate again next year, right? So that's what happens. I saw this happens again and again for a few years. Okay, and the other thing is a lot of a lot of organizations manage plan deviations. They have a number saying that, okay, you are 95% guy. Basically, you are 95% accurate on your everything, on your budget, on your planning, on your estimation. And this guy is good. This guy is kind of 99% guy. He always fulfill his commitment. But think about it. If you see the movie, there's a movie called Inception, where there is this thing flowing around. That's the moment when you know something goes wrong, right? If you're in an uncertain place and then somebody come in and said, you know what, I'm living in an uncertain world, but my plan 100% accurate. Think about it, right? So this is ridiculous. You don't really think this is possible, but this happens every day. So what happened is that people begin to leave buffers because this is 1 week work, but to make it safe, I make it 4 weeks. So I think I can be 100% sure, right? But if you think about that, and then people began to negotiate, saying that, you know what, this is simple work. You say that 4 weeks, right? This doesn't make sense. This about 3 weeks. You said no, 2.5. Okay, we got a deal, 2.5. And once you got that deal, you weren't able to change it, right? So you won't deliver in 5 days. You fight very hard to maintain 2.5 weeks. So you have to take that long. And also, you cannot just finish 5 days and defer to 2.5 weeks to deliver that. That's called cheating, right? So then you will try to slow down a little bit and try to finish exactly on time. But that's something where things goes wrong. Because sometimes you wait for a while and it doesn't work. So gradually, I work with a lot of time with these big organizations. We find that gradually people think everything goes slow here. A newbie come, he would say, this piece of work, this should be quick. Let's do it in 5 days. And then the experienced guy would say, you know what? Here we take 4 weeks for such kind of work. And probably after 2 years, and this same guy will say, you know what, for this 5 days work, people normally think that it takes 2 weeks here or 4 weeks here. So this is what happens when you really try to use certainty to manage what you got. It's a complex system, so it will not happen in 1 day, but gradually this will change and hurt your system. And also, another thing we see is that people try to analyze very carefully, seek out all the dependencies, and try to planning and try to maintain all the dependencies, all the resource ready, and we have a beautiful plan now. Let's work, and then the plan probably fall apart after 2 weeks, and then you have to do replanning meeting, to cut features. I've been IBM before. Basically we plan for a month to cut all the features, and then I come back to I was product manager. I come back to the development manager saying that, you know what? Finally, I got the feature done, and they say, you know what? You lose another month, so you have to replan again because you have already wasted another month. And the other thing is that. Because a lot of time, especially when I work with these financial companies, they want the production environment to be bullet safe. They no errors. Everything would be clean room. But the problem is that they once this uncertainty world, right? So sometimes things goes wrong and the defect is released into production, and then people will go back and say, you know what? Think about it. Why this happened? How we can prevent that in future? You have to give something, right? You cannot say, you know what, this happens, right? And then we see in the big organizations, more test was added, more review was added, more gate was added. So basically, it slows things further. And the defect keep coming, and then more and more gate was added. So that's another way of, traditional thinking of manage quality is that, adding more gate. So this is some examples, not all examples, of how certainty management way of thinking in our organization. And I teach a lot of this kind of training in China, and every time this is the most loved part because people come up with other, this is not finished, your list is too short, I got a lot of other stuff, a lot of very fun experiment. So I steal this slide from the Kanban framework. Basically now, I was thinking that the problem now we have is that a lot of our managers, especially in China, we have been successful economically in the last 30 years. So basically all the CEOs has been a lucky one, right? So they have been all very successful. And they have been thinking of having a golden fingers, right? Everything I do is very successful. So I must be very talented, very smart, and that's true, right? I've been successful for 30 years. But actually what happened is that they mostly working in this part of the world before. So when you're in the growth market, you just make sure you have the stuff, you have the customer, you have the product, and boom, everything just successful. So that's the easy part. But nowadays, when the economy is changing, and we have to be more innovation, more that we cannot always sell the cheap things, right? We will try to sell something expensive now. So then we gradually move in a more complex and chaotic side of the fence. So the challenge now is really that all the CEOs grow up here and they believe all the management methodologies in that zone. And then the company already moved in that zone, the complex and chaotic zone. But the mindset, the manager, the middle manager mindset was still in this side. So that's really the fundamental issue we saw here. Like David said about Agile or about Scrum, you can make some changes in the team level, but without changing the mindset, you cannot go far because gradually you meet KPIs, you meet all the report, all the matrix you need. So it will kill all the improvement you have. So the other session I was going to talk about is more about something we can do and what this kind of management will hurt, how it will hurt individuals. So this kind of management, because we're trying to plan everything, we try to load everybody to 100% utilization, basically it will create congestions in the innovation work. So one very good matrix we use is called flow efficiency. So this chart I steal from David. So basically we find out is the flow efficiency is to 1 to 5% for end-to-end flow efficiency for big organizations. So I teach this training several times now in China, and one of the big banks come back and said, you know what, I go back and do the calculation manually, and they come up with 3%. So they said, we think of flow efficiency, end-to-end flow efficiency is only 3%. So it's similar to this. So what that means is that basically a requirement, it takes 3 months to deliver, but actually working days is only maybe several days, right? So it means a lot of wait time, and it also means a lot of parallel work. Because I have to work several things in parallel. I'm not sitting on the bench. Everybody is busy as hell because they have many things in their hand. So this is another interesting data that from InfoQ is that they surveyed like 86 programmers for like 10,000 hours. Basically, when people were interrupted, they cannot like machine, like, I do this, and then I do this, I do this. There will be intervals. between each task. Because when you switch the task, your brain, our brain is actually, it's very like computer. We have a working memory, very small, very fast, but very small. And then we have a short-term memory, bigger, quicker. And then we have long-term memory, which is like hard disk. So what happens in this 10 to 15 minutes is that you have to switch the task. You would think about, okay, what am I doing? And I have 10, what am I doing? Oh, I'm doing this one. And how am I going to plan to do this one? And where I'm interrupted? So you have to spend some time to figure out, and then you can continue doing something, right? But then when you're interrupted again, you have to spend another 10 to 15 minutes. So if you are interrupted a lot, you are losing a lot of working time. But it doesn't look like you're losing because you're sitting there just wondering, right? And then you begin to typing, right? So from manager's point of view, is everybody's working, right? Somebody's thinking, right? But it's actually a very hidden kind of waste that cannot be found. So in Huawei, one of their institute tried a silent time. Basically, they are telecom equipment vendor, right? So they have the technology. So basically, they switch off the telecom switches for 2 hours in the afternoon. So no phones, right? They switch off the SMS, the online chatting. So it will be silent for 2 hours. And their result is that it's like 30% productivity increase, something like that. Basically, nobody intruding each other. And also, I'm a big fan of the flow theory. So my personal, in China, we have this saying, something like 669, sorry, my jet lag is 996. I don't know whether to learn about that. Or sometimes we say 007. Which really means is that you start 9 in the morning and you end 9 in the afternoon. And you work 6 days a week. So that's a 996. So a lot of overtime happening. But when I interview the people, I find out people voluntarily overtime sometimes. Because they have been interrupted all day. There was no flow in their daytime. So what they have to do is that after the work hours, now I have 2 hours for the flow time. So they do something, deliver the value. With all the 8 hours is interruption and the other things. Oh, I've only got 15 minutes. Okay, cool. Okay, I have to go slow. I have to go fast a little bit. So scarcity. Here is a very interesting topic. Really, I said, changed my life. It's a very good book about scarcity. Highly recommend. So the topic is really about when you scare something, when you need a lot, but you don't have, and then you are kind of in scarcity mode. There is good thing about scarcity, right? So we all know the power of deadline, right? So, when you have a deadline, you're just very focused. Right? This happened every time to me when I prepare a presentation. Deadline is the most powerful thing, right? But that's a good part. And probably we're talking about influence this morning, and scarcity is also a very powerful influence, right? When you have a limited bandwidth and said, I need 1 people, and then people say, oh, only 1, I want to take part of that. So that's a good part. But the bad part is that it causes us to tunneling. So basically, when we focus, we don't see other things, right? So basically we said, okay, I'm very focused, but I don't see other things. And what happened is that at this time you will pay a bandwidth tax. Basically, when you're very focused, when you're tunneling, or when your scarcity was triggered, it's like a very high priority process running in the background. You cannot focus on the hand task because I was thinking something else. I will try to focus. I'm going to that and try to focus back. So at that time, your capability, your benefit of your mind is really you're losing that. So let's see a very simple example. We call that Jersey Moore tax. It's actually from a book, very, very good book, and saying that we let people do some IQ tests, but before that, we will ask people one question like, your car is broken. How much you have to spend X dollars. You want to do it or just wait? So it's just a tricky question to trigger the scarcity mode for the poor people, because for the rich people it's fine, just fix that, right? But for poor people it will be triggered. So the result is really astonishing. We use this kind of IQ test or this kind of execution control test, but basically the result is when the amount is $300, that's nothing, right? So basically the poor and the rich, they perform at the same level. So it doesn't mean rich people, they are smarter. No, they are equal. They're the same. But what happens is that if we go to $3,000 for the fix, and that's where the magic happens, because it's a big sum amount, and it will trigger the scarcity mode for the poor. He would be thinking, oh, I need $1,500 to do that. And, I don't have the cash, Can I use credit card? No, I have to pay something else. So then you are losing like 12 to 14% of IQ point for the poor. So that's for the money scarcity. But for the developers or for the knowledge workers, a lot of time we have scarcity of time. We don't have enough time. So when you are triggered, some people asking, oh, can you add another feature for me? Oh, this feature is required by the CEO. I have 10 features, this CEO, CFO, COOs, which one I cut, right? So that's where the scarcity stands. And then we are losing about 13% of IQ. So basically that turns a brilliant people to a normal people and turns a normal people to a dumb people. So that's what happens. Okay, so, and even worse is that when you are in a scarcity mode for a long time, you go into a scarcity mindset, which is begin to change your behavior patterns. So that's what I'm in. I'm a time scarcity people before. So one of the symptoms is we call that present bias and slack envy. Basically, before I would like to feel my calendar very full, like I don't have anything to do tomorrow. No, that's not good. I visit these customers, writing this. I would try to squeeze everything in my calendar. But we are in an uncertain world, right? So when that happens, I begin to borrow, right? So and also began to jiggling, saying that I'm already tight on my schedule. Oh, another customer call in. Oh, I have to finish this for another one. So then I'm losing my quality because I have to just finish this and just finish that. And then I'm accustomed to this kind of firefighting every day. And in this situation, basically, you begin to neglect the future, saying that, you know what, I'm busy, I'm dying, leave me alone, right? So, and then planning, oh, later, when I got the time, I will plan that, I will fix that, But you never got time. It's something like that. So this year I'm changing that. So I'm leave more space, more slack time in my calendar, and try to do things as long, try to push everything not to do and I only do the most valuable things, and it's kind of that. So that's really changed my life. Okay, so back to Kanban. So this is more psychology stuff and how it linked to Kanban. And I have only 10 minutes or something, just quickly go through, because a lot of stuff you already know. It's more, I call it more another way of positioning. So it's really talking the business language, talking about psychology, talk about other stuff, and then we link back to Kanban. So the first thing is that we visualize this very powerful thing, because for the knowledge workers, everything was invisible. Right? So we first make sure people see things, see the low flow efficiency, see the waiting list, see the bottleneck. That's something we don't see. Okay, so the first thing we do is that, so this is one real Kanban that we do, we use between the business people and the IP people. So this is really the high-level Kanban, upstream Kanban, that the requirement was flowing here, a lot of discussion, and then plan here, deliver here. So it's really to visualize everything. And then this another Kanban, we try to visualize the resource allocation for the CEOs. Basically is that I have a different kind of business unit, because in this case, the CEO find out that he don't have the resource to do the strategic project. So every time he said, I have a key project, but every half-year review, I'm asking the same question: where is my project? And people say, we don't have a resource. And then I said, okay, I give you another 100 people. And then after half year, where is my project? We don't have resources. And he was furious, this is my key project. But then people was very, sad, because, said, but CEO, every time a feature come in, you said, this is very important, please help. This is very important, please help. And because he didn't see all the short-term decisions he made is hurting his long-term decisions. It's hurting his long-term strategies. So this way, we're trying to visualize and try to see, okay, if you're doing this, I'm moving 3 people away. Are you really trying to do this? So this is something we visualize. And the other thing is really, I use the term more flow conditioning instead of the limit WAPE. I'm happy to hear a lot of WAPE limit or limit WAPE talking here, but in my situation, I find still a lot of time is hard thing to sell. People don't like limit control or something like that. Why are not let me doing that? So the way I'm using is the flow conditioning. I'm using this graph. This is real happening in China. Is that we are here. What happened is that some kind of screening device, X-ray device happening, and this is early 7, probably 8 a.m. in the morning. A lot of people going to work, so they have to have this kind of long fence. And I'm just asking the business people, how about we remove all the fence? It will make the things better? Everybody say, no, it's making things worse. Okay, so I'm not talking about limited WAPE, So we should have doing some kind of this in the requirement, right? So it's easier. And the other thing I'm using is really a video, basically saying that in the fair escape situation, this 44 minutes, you escape about 65 people. But if I'm adding a 1 column here, it actually, you're saved more people by adding 1 column. It doesn't make sense, right? But it's actually happening because it's help the congestion, less the congestion here. So this is can be simulated, can be proved. So that's something I use to let the business people or like the manager understand, okay, sometimes flow conditioning or limit WAPE is actually a better thing to do. And also we don't like David said, we don't like plans, right? So it's really I call them more less revolutionary and less offensive is more like adaptive plans. Not to plan everything accurately, but gradually planning. So basically what we do is that we use Kanban and resources so that we transparent manage all the resources and all the work. So we don't need to plan everybody in very detail, but we gradually or adaptively manage their time. And the other thing is that, I like the class of service, which David also mentioned. I use real-time examples, right? So this is like class of service, right? So basically, you need to have different kind of cars, right? So they flow differently in the system. So then we add policies for class of services. So that's easy to understand. And the other thing is that, so this real situation is that we use the blue card for the requirement, and basically that's a red card for all the supporting tasks. And for this team, they didn't separate that before. And when they separate, they actually find their thinking model is still wrong. They believe they have a lot of requirement and less supporting work. But once they done the Kanban, they find out, oh, we actually have more supporting work than the real requirement work. So there's lots of collapse service. And also, David talked about dependency, adaptive dependency management. I really love that. So I'm not going through the details, but basically you know about that. Probably there is a workshop on Wednesday, talk about more about that. I really think this will change, improve the efficiency of the big team collaboration a lot. Okay, I'm speaking that part. And also, probabilistic forecasting and SLAs. Before that, we have all this, you are 99% guy, you are 95% guy. But now we are not, we're using more probabilistic forecasting. It's not that hard, right? People using that every day. This time we are only to run 95%, right? So this is easy, right? So then we use this, we use the SLA to forecast the lead time, and this is the SLA we set up with the team with the probability, not the certainty, but uncertainty. So I'm providing, not only let them know that we are going to do something they don't like, we kill that, but we give them way out. We say, we don't do this way, we will do that way. So there will be a way out. And then we basically, for the quality, we try to manage the quality along the way and use Kanban. Basically, this is all the gate, not only really the gate, but it's a different way to improve quality, transparency, and also how many risks, how many defects we have. So really not to adding more gate, but really trying to manage the process of improving the quality. And last, Kanban really helped to manage the self-managing teams. So in the end, so basically, just more chart to showing that, with all this visualized flow management, I try to use the term that is easier for business people. So basically, you see that by visualize, by flow conditioning, and by the self-management, we're helping the team to break out from the scarcity mode, so they will be more productive, increasing 10 points for IQ, right? So you got a better team. And also, I don't talk about innovation a lot, but probably maybe next year, about we not managing the deviation strictly, but we use different ways to manage deviation. We're not forecasting and try to make everybody stick to the plan, but really to make things transparent, and then we manage the process. Also, dependency, we have dependency management, and also we have the build quality in process. So we believe by using the Lean and Kanban methodology, we can make the development team and also the business team working better and working happier. So that's my topic today. Thank you very much.